This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Monday Mashup on Detroit Sports Podcast, March 4th, 2019. As always, I'm your host, Shea and Joining me, Kevin McCann.
Happy March.
Lots to get to. Yeah, March Madness en route. Coming in hot. It's the best sporting event of the year.
Just the precursor to April and the D, though. That's what it's really all about.
Can't wait for April and the D.
Can't wait.
Oh, boy. Speaking of April and the D, whole lot to get to. We're going to have April and the D this year.
Can't wait.
Because we're going to have at least two teams playing in April.
At least.
One of them won't be the Red Wings, but...
We don't know that. I honestly don't know that. They could. I just have no idea where they are in the standings.
I can tell you, because I looked at this earlier, that they are the second worst team in hockey.
I learned that just now.
So, bad news for the Wings.
Tough break.
But, yeah, the Pistons can't stop losing, and Reggie Jackson is... the type of player you've always wanted him to be, and you hate him for it.
They've won 9 of 11. I'll give them credit for winning 9 of 11. I will state that 5 of those wins are against the Knicks, the Wizards, the Hawks, and the Cavs. So do with that what you will. Reggie Jackson gets a lot of credit for his shooting percentage in the last 11 games, gets a lot of credit for kind of taking a back seat and just finding it within the flow. I would argue that he doesn't do that very well. And all the people who are giving him credit for the things that he's doing are not looking at the things that he completely is ignoring on the floor.
Which there are many, but we'll get to it. We got to talk Lakers.
Oh boy.
Because...
could be worse. I could be a Lakers fan.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm at right now, too, because my Celtics are fairly disappointing.
Yeah.
We'll touch on them as well, but boy, it must stink to be a Lakers fan right now.
I mean, signing the best player in the world in a summer and then missing the playoffs...
Not ideal.
That's a failure. Like, that's an organizational failure.
Not great.
No.
But speaking of teams it's difficult to be a fan of, we got to start with the Detroit Lions.
It's difficult, but at the same time, I'm just so used to it.
Yeah, well, it's like, I'm trying to think of an analogy for it, but it's like the ex that you keep going back to, and it's just, you know that you're going to get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
But the sex is really good.
It's not. It's not that good. That's the thing. It's really. It's like, yeah.
It's like you think that the sex.
When's the last time we had sex?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The Lions.
It's like.
I got laid in years.
It's like it's been a while, and you're like, maybe it'll be better this time. You go back, and it's not better.
Supposedly, I don't even remember what it was like.
And then you just get hurt.
Like, what was the sex? Like a playoff loss in Dallas? Did I miss it? Did I sleep through it?
That was the sex. That was the best team that the Lions have ever had.
I did not come.
We did not finish. NFL Combine weekend. Everybody was focused on Kyler Murray's height.
I love that.
Everybody was focused on that inch and a half.
His hands just came over 9.
Yeah, what was it?
Less than 9, they would have freaked out.
He can't be an NFL quarterback.
No,
but they were like
not.
9 4/8 or 4 whatever 9 because 4/8 just simplify the fraction, but. They were something just a hair over 9 inches.
They were something that I promise doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, and he was 5'10" and 1/8 of an inch.
If he had been 5'8" and 9/11 or whatever, he can't play.
This is like, to me, the NFL Combine is kind of hilarious. Like, some things are cool and some things are important.
It's a meat market.
Like
they go there to measure people.
Yeah,
they don't throw.
Like a 40, especially quarterbacks. Yeah. Like Haskins threw, and Haskins put on a show. He put on a show with the deep balls.
Credit entirely to his assistant strength coach at Ohio State, who's one of my very good friends.
There you go. Shout out.
He tweeted at him today just to give him a shout out for it.
Yeah. So Haskins looked great, but yeah, Kyler Murray doesn't throw.
No.
Like the QBs who don't need to throw, don't throw, and then like very few things really matter except like I guess vertical jump and 40 time, and like really does the 3-cone and the shuttle matter that much?
Why would I care about like an O lineman's vertical jump?
Exactly.
I don't want you to leave the ground no matter what.
It's all dependent on position. And then they're like, oh, well, his arm is only 31.48 inches long. I don't know if he's going to be able to get off blocks.
The whole combine in general just doesn't make any sense for me.
But there are some cool things, like DK Metcalf coming in at 227 pounds with 1.6% body fat.
Yeah, that was wild.
And then running like a 4.3 40.
And there was a D lineman or somebody ran a ridiculous 40 this year too.
Rashawn Gary ran a 4.4.
Yeah, no, I can't remember the guy's name. It was trending on Twitter today, and I already forgot it.
Yeah, so that's Chase Winovich had a good one too.
Did he?
Yeah, he ran a 4.4, I believe.
Cut his hair yet?
It didn't look like it. No. From the Instagram post that I saw, might have been creating a little bit of drag. Maybe
that's just man. I would cut my hair if I had to run the 40.
Why not?
You'd shave me from
your
5'8"
head like
to
a swimmer.
5'6".
Yeah, like a swimmer. Just my 6'5" 40 is gonna
really burning.
But DK Metcalf, fun fact, did his shuttle and his 3-cone today, and people were making fun of him because after running a 4.340 with a ridiculous 1.6% body fat, his 3-cone and shuttle were slower than Tom Brady's.
So he's a tight end.
So,
he's going to be a tight end.
He's basically just going to get split out and run vertical routes, and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
Just,
can he block?
Hey, run straight up the field.
If you can block, you're going to be a great tight end.
And he put on all that muscle, 6'6", 227. Dude looks ripped.
I mean, that sounds like a tight end.
Does kind of sound like a tight end. Speaking of tight ends, so we wanted to do a Lions potluck.
I love a good potluck.
Where we're each going to bring a few players that we want to get out of free agency or out of the draft. I have 3 free agents and 1 draftee in my list. I don't know what your list looks like. We might have overlap.
I have 4 free agents, and I have a couple of draft picks that all play the same position.
You came to party. You brought a lot of guys.
3 of the 4 free agents also play the same position.
There we go. So you're set on something.
Yes.
So I brought 4 players to the table. And I want to start with a draftee, and it plays the position that every Lions fan will be terrified to hear a first-round pick gets spent on.
Lineman?
Noah Fant, the tight end.
I'm down with that. Sure. He ran a ridiculous 40. That's who it is.
Yeah, his 40 time was out of control.
Yeah.
And he's huge. He's like 6'6".
Iowa, right?
Yeah, he's like 6'6", 250, and he ran like a 4.4 40.
Can he catch?
Probably better than Ebron. Can't be worse.
Dude, if we'd have had Ebron this year, who knows, though?
Well, yeah, but I mean, he still dropped a lot of balls in Indy. But here's, I don't get the whole we can't draft a tight end because we drafted a tight end once and it didn't work out.
Wasn't once. You don't remember. I remember Brandon Pettigrew.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? We drafted a tight end in the top 10 this many times and it didn't work, and so we can't do it. If every team didn't draft based on mistakes they made in previous drafts, no one would get drafted.
Yeah, I mean...
you need a tight end.
Yeah.
There's a really good tight end available.
End pick. I'm good with that. I'm totally good with the tight end pick. What are they at, 8? Is that too early for a tight end?
Maybe.
Who knows?
For some GMs, it
Not
would
if he pans out.
But, okay, here's the other thing.
It's only too early if he sucks.
I'm going to retroactively add another draftee because the only other person that I would really want at this point after Noah Fant's combine is Greedy Williams as a cornerback. And so, if you're not getting...
Slay.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Be nice.
But I have a free agent corner coming up that you could also pair with Slay.
I got some free agent secondary help coming too.
So that's where it's if Greedy Williams isn't there, or if the issues surrounding him are true and real, and you got to get away from him.
Right.
It's look, go ahead and take the tight end. T.J. Hawkinson didn't have an excellent combine, and at least not as good as Noah Fant had. And, first of all, what is it with Iowa being a tight end factory all of a sudden?
I feel like they've been for, since Dallas Clark went to Iowa, right?
Ooh, might stump me on this one.
I can't remember. I think he did, but I feel like they've been...
Since the beginning of time, University of Iowa. Yeah. I did know that. Unanimous All-American.
The guy, Mackey, went to Iowa, right?
Yeah.
The guy that named so Iowa's just tight end.
I guess the Hawkeyes just produce tight ends. But, that's where I'm at with the Lions is if you're going to take a pick at number 8. If you're not going to trade down, just get something that's going to help you. And right now, that's a position of dire need.
Sure.
It's clear we're not going to get Kyler Murray. He's going to go number 1, and they were never going to take a quarterback anyways.
I mean, I got a name in free agency. Well, I'm not exactly sure if he is a free agent, but we'll get to him when we get to other free agents that could help him over the middle. It's not a tight end, but he's got Patricia ties.
Oh boy. See, this is where he's got Patricia ties, and then everybody just starts throwing Patriots off the walls.
Oh, they already have. The second this came out, the first thing everybody said was Patriots. I was like, there's another team now that's super New Englandy, and it's us. Not that we're New Englandy in the good way, just that we have people from New England.
And they're clearly kind of trying to steer the ship that route. And
totally.
I don't know if the Darrell Bevel hire makes sense. Some of the vision, I'm not sure they really know what they're doing. It's confusing to me.
I'll
But it's
judge
like-
it in the preseason. I can't wait to just tear him down.
This is where if it looks like they're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, then draft this tight end. Draft the best. Like if we get to 8 and Noah Fant's the best player available, I don't care that he's a tight end. Like it doesn't bother me that you could blow a pick on a tight end again.
No.
You could blow a pick on a defensive end. You
And
could
if-
blow a
yeah.
pick. Oh, we can't call them defensive ends anymore. They're edge.
Whatever.
Defensive end is canceled.
I'm over that. If you're gonna pay your quarterback $30+ million a year, surround him
Give
with a bunch
him
of
weapons.
weapons. Like
Yeah.
exactly. Like just put people around him. At least try to.
And that's like, I know it's a philosophical battle for a lot of fans because it's like, do we want to give Stafford another weapon or do we want to just find someone to replace Stafford? You're not going to find someone to replace Stafford in this draft. Like Murray's not going to be there at 8.
Neither of those guys.
Haskins isn't going to be there at 8. So
It'd be awesome if he was.
it would be awesome if he was, but it's not going to happen.
No, probably not.
Unless Murray is there at 8. But even then, like I'm resigned to the fact that the Lions aren't going to do it. No matter what Bob Quinn says about we're open to drafting a quarterback, I'm resigned to the fact they're not getting.
I got the name for you. That's my draft. My one draft pick because I have like Haskins and Murray, and then I just put Laval out right next to it because we're not going to get him. But
Right.
if you can get a guy in the early second round like a Drew Lock or a Daniel Jones, or
Yeah.
if you could wait and take a guy in the 5th round like a Nick Fitzgerald
And that's
from Mississippi State.
That's exactly what they need to do too. Is like don't take a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. Like if you don't get one in the first 2, wait till the 5th, 6th, 7th.
I would be okay with Nick Fitzgerald in the 4th. Like if they did it in the 4th just to make sure they got him, I would be okay with that. Because he can run too. You can play him right away.
Yeah, it
Like,
depends
he
how
has
high
that
you are.
Taysom
Like
Hill
maybe I
aspect.
was just going to say that maybe that Taysom Hill kind of
Yeah.
scheme, if that's the way you want to go about it. But I love Daniel Jones. I think he had a great Senior Bowl.
Cutcliffe.
Wasn't an amazing combine, but I think he's a good player. Drew Lock, I think, is also a good player. But
I love the Dan Marino line. That whoever was it Prisco the other day on PMT that said when he walked away from Drew Lock at the Senior Bowl, he was telling him, "It's like, oh, your small hands are gonna be a problem." And then he walked away, and Drew Lock under his breath was like, "Dan Marino had small hands."
yeah, that was Prisco.
I want Drew Lock now.
Prisco was a great interview on
Yes, he
PMT.
was.
I like Drew Lock. And who was the other kid with a great quote at the combine?
I don't know.
They said something about like, oh, you might not be great because you don't have long arms, and he was like, yeah, if you had long arms, you'd be able to reach the keyboard better as a writer, but you don't need that to be great.
I love it when rookies fire back.
I was like,
It's
sign me
the
up for that
best.
kid.
Yes, give me all of that. I'm here for every second of it.
I got to find out who that was. It was on my Twitter, but
Okay, so
yeah, give me a
my
name.
draft guy was Nick Fitzgerald. For my free agency guys, A1, get it done. Don't care what you have to do, Le'Veon Bell. Like, I want Le'Veon Bell so badly, it hurts. And I know everybody's so high on Carry-On, and Carry-On's great, and that's fine. Get them both. Like, that. Have them both. I'm totally okay with that. Le'Veon is so much more than a guy you turn around and hand the ball to. Like, he catches balls. He does so many other things for your offense. I want Le'Veon Bell. That's never going to happen. I fully acknowledge. I know it. But I want him so bad.
What if I told you I have a running back on my list that's not going to break the bank?
Is he as good as Le'Veon Bell? Like, I'll break the bank for Le'Veon Bell.
There's nobody that's as good as Le'Veon Bell,
Right.
but it's also the most replaceable position in the league.
Unless you have Le'Veon Bell. Well, even though
Then, like,
Well, they couldn't make the playoffs, though.
D'Angelo Williams
Yeah.
stepped right into it, and
Fair.
they made the playoffs.
Fair.
Like, I'm blanking on the kid's name.
James
from this
Conner.
James
Yeah.
Conner. Yeah, just jumped in, and they were fine. I think it's just a replaceable position, and there's a guy coming from New Orleans who's a free agent in the name of Mark Ingram, who has experience playing in a 2 running back scenario, who has experience not being a feature back, who has explosiveness.
Flint Southwestern Academy, if I do recall.
He's not going to be super expensive. I really like if the Lions want to go the running back route somehow, I don't want him in the draft because I think a lot of these guys didn't look as good as we thought. Like Elijah Holyfield,
That's fair.
his combine wasn't great. Dude looks slow. I don't know if the Swift out of Georgia is going to be any good. Like a lot of these running backs in the draft are big hit or miss guys to me. Mark Ingram, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And it's a guy who's going to come in and kind of supplement the running game by not eating into Kerryon Johnson's snaps.
Sort of let Carry-On play a little bit.
Right. Like if you bring Le'Veon in,
I feel like
I think it's good because you save Kerryon's body a little bit, but you also might stun his growth.
My thing, Ingram is the guy who runs, Kamara's the guy who catches the ball, right? Like, theoretically, that's how New Orleans' system is designed for that to work.
Sure.
Also, like you say, he's not going to break the bank. I still think Mark Ingram's going to cost you at least something.
Well, yeah, but he's not going to cost
He's
you
not
the
going to cost
20 to
you
24
$90
million a year.
whatever the 4-year 90 that LeVeon wants, which is absurd, but it is what it is. Like, yeah, I mean, am I going to be mad if they sign Mark Ingram? No. I'm obviously going to be very happy if they sign Mark Ingram. I'd rather have Danny Amendola. Like, that was the guy I was talking about earlier.
Now, if you want to get a Patriot.
Well, he's not a free agent, but there's all these rumors around Miami that they don't want him anymore.
That they're going to cut him.
And it's like, well, you hired a New England guy to be the coach. Why? Like, you don't want him? Okay, well, come here.
So the fear for me with that is like, I know that there's guys in New England who are reporters who've said that the team's not interested in bringing him back, even if Miami does release him, and then it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense.
He had some words for them when he left. He didn't exactly sing the praises of everyone in New England when he left.
Yeah, I didn't remember him saying he loved Tom, and everybody else was pretty much just like
Yeah, he wasn't so high on Belichick.
got bad news. No, but I think Belichick has this history of offensive players, he never gets rid of them too soon. So, Amendola didn't find a lot of success in Miami. Granted, they had a horrible quarterback situation.
Big Tannehill guy.
He's on the wrong side of 30. He's going to cost you $12 million. He's not going to be a high-volume wide receiver.
I think it's $6 million for next year.
Okay, even if he's half of what he was worth this year, it's still he's not a high-volume receiver, and you have a team that doesn't have a number one wideout. And, Amendola is not going to come in and do that.
No.
And no matter how good Marvin Jones is...
Oh no,
he's a good number 2. He's the high end of a tier 2 wideout. He's not a number 1 guy.
And I am the captain of the Pump the Brakes coalition on Kenny Galladay. He's a nice player. Again, he's shown some serious flashes.
That's another guy who, to me,
pump the brakes.
He's a really nice player.
Yeah.
He's a high end tier 2 wide receiver. He's not a Julio Jones. He's not a Antonio Brown. He's not a guy. By the way, pump the brakes on the Antonio Brown stuff too. All the people that are let's go get this guy. This guy's quotes are just...
I'm over it. I've said to every single, if there's a diva, if there's anybody, whatever, if he puts points up, if he can make things happen on the football field, come play for the Lions, because we haven't won the division in 25 years. It's not going to get worse if we bring in a sideshow attraction.
I think it might with this guy.
I can't see it getting worse.
I mean, I get the Lions should be in the front of the front of the list. If the trade value is truly as low as now, a 3rd or 4th round pick, which is, again, that was a Briscoe quote on PMT that the perceived value of Antonio Brown at this point is a 3rd or 4th round pick, and I'm like, really, if that's the value,
I can see them getting a 2 for him on draft night.
And to me, it's almost worth it. As much money as he costs, you're not going to find a better talent.
Let's say you're
in the
sitting
3rd
there
or 4th
at 58,
round.
and the guy you wanted to take just went at 56, and you're like, you know what, fuck it, we'll take Antonio Brown.
Right. I'm not going to take this maybe out of Ole Miss.
All it's going to cost us is this pick in our 6th. Yeah, sure.
Well, and a shitload of money.
Oh yeah, and you got
to.
It's actually a decent contract. You're probably going to have to pay him again. But if all cost you is a 2nd and a 6th, and you think, well, he'll at least play this year for free, and or not for free, but without asking for a new contract, then and you got a shot this year, you're Denver, and you think you have a shot with Joe Flacco. Somebody, I don't know, somebody would pull the trigger, a 2nd and a 6th for Antonio Brown on draft night.
Now, the fear for me is he has already said he's refusing to delay his roster bonus, which is $2.5 million, which is going to make him a whole lot more difficult to trade. And he had another quote where he came out and said, anybody that I play for has to play by my rules. Whatever team I go to has to play by my rules. I'm not playing by anybody else's rules.
Football is just not the game to do this in, man.
Exactly.
That's my issue. The wrong sport, man.
This isn't the NBA where if you're a LeBron James or an Anthony Davis, and this isn't the best year to bring LeBron into it, or a Kevin Durant, there's no replacement for you.
I watched him on the shop do the same thing the other night. Yeah. And, you saw the look on all the NBA guys' faces yeah, bro, we could do this no problem, but you're fucked.
Anthony Davis can demand a trade and actually have leverage.
They're all just sitting there because this is easy, but it ain't going to work for you.
Nobody's replacing Anthony Davis, and nobody's finding his talent anywhere else. And, the salary cap, despite NBA contracts getting out of control, and, even bad NBA players can flex on really good NFL players as far as contracts go, it's still, relatively you can eat that money because you're only putting 15 people on payroll.
You know what's awesome?
You have 53 guys on an NFL roster.
That there's just way too many, and the baseball thing's funny too because everybody freaked out about Bryce Harper this week. Bryce Harper's AAV is the same as Chandler Parsons.
Seriously.
Like, it's a dude who plays 10 minutes a night for the Memphis Grizzlies, averages 6 points. That guy makes as much as Bryce Harper does.
Seriously, like Jan Mahinmi makes as much as Antonio Brown, and Jan Mahinmi can't even get minutes on the Wizards. It's like
you could ask 100 people outside of Washington D.C. who Jan Mahinmi is, and 96 of them are not going to know who Jan Mahinmi is.
No idea.
Like,
so it's like, dude. The other issue is you're playing in the league where every player is the most replaceable outside of the quarterback. Every single player is replaceable. Yeah. Like Antonio Brown experienced that this year. Juju Smith-Schuster kind of played himself
offensive
into a number
MVP
one wide
of the
receiver
Pittsburgh
role.
Steelers.
Yeah,
Juju
it's like every year. Like Brandon Cooks getting traded for a first-round pick, and then his team wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like you can replace guys in this league
just like that
easily. And any position
football
outside
by
of
its
quarterback,
very nature has to be like that.
Because you're going to get hurt,
it's a next
and we
man
need
up
next
sport.
man up.
Yeah.
So this is the one sport where, you said it on the shop. He's like, oh, they're going to play by my rules, bro. I'm going to demand my way out of this.
Good luck.
No matter how you could be the best player in football, if you're not an edge rusher or an outside linebacker, if you're a wide receiver or a running back, you have zero leverage.
And there's one thing that doesn't get talked about enough with the NFL also. Their union sucks.
It's
like
terrible.
Their players' union is terrible.
It's terrible.
I mean, it's worse than hockey.
The NFL players' union is also so bad that they allowed the franchise tag to be collectively bargained.
Like, are you
Do you know
kidding?
how embarrassing that is for the players?
You caved on guaranteed contracts and you caved on the franchise tag.
Bad, real bad.
And that lockout took so long.
That's where, and then also like the Le'Veon Bell stuff, where the offensive linemen were coming out and going, "Yeah, we don't like this. We don't like dealing with this guy." It's like, so long story short, I'm really not interested in either of them if I'm talking about the Lions, because I just think there's too much that comes with it, and they're two guys who don't understand the replaceability of the game.
Yeah, we went way off board on that.
We did. I'm okay with it. Let's get to defense.
For sure. You want to go? You want me to go?
I'll go ahead with mine. Okay. My first guy, cornerback for the New York Jets last year, Morris Claiborne, free agent.
Good player.
Dude, he is a good player, and I think he's like a high ceiling tier 2 corner. He blows Tease Tabor out of the water, which anybody does.
LSU guy on my board as well.
And so, like, I just think you get Mo Claiborne. He knows his role. He knows he's not a number one guy. He's a do-your-job type player, good cover corner.
I love Darius Slay.
Yeah, Darius Slay, if he gets paired in the right secondary, dude, he's an all-pro corner.
It's amazing that he has not been an all-pro corner.
Well, he's never been in that type of defense.
Right.
The one time he was still too young. And he wasn't that, like, high impact. Like, Glover Quinn was the best player in the secondary.
I love Glover Quinn. Glover Quinn is one of my favorite Lions of all time. What does that say about the Lions?
Also,
I've been a Lions fan for 26 years.
He had some choice words for the Lions as well.
Good. I like him more than I like anybody working for the Lions right now. I have 3 guys. They all play safety. Earl Thomas, Landon Collins, or Tyrann Mathieu. One of those 3 guys needs to replace Glover Quinn.
I would love Tyrann Mathieu.
I'd be okay with any of those 3.
I still think Tyrann Mathieu's an all-pro safety ceiling.
I'd rather have Earl Thomas, but he's going to cost you.
He will cost you, and he's going to want everything like basically guaranteed.
He already said he's not giving Dallas a hometown discount, so I don't think he's going to want to come to Detroit.
He's not giving anybody a discount, and after what happened this season with Seattle, where he played on the tag and he got killed,
flipped him off on the way out.
That guy's going to want basically every penny he can possibly get, and that's why that makes me nervous, especially with injury history,
for sure,
and especially with how close he's come to retirement, like twice.
So Landon Collins or Tyrann Mathieu,
dude, Landon Collins. The fact that the Giants aren't putting an $11 million franchise tag on him is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I don't.
That's the dumbest decision I think Dave Gettleman's ever made in his tenure as the Giants general manager.
And I got to tell you, the day that Landon Collins committed to Alabama, and his mother in front of the entire country said no, he should have gone to LSU. I said to myself, that kid's destined to play for the Lions. That kid is destined to be a Detroit Lion one day.
I also felt like he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah, for sure.
He should have gone
to Bama.
Yeah.
But he's going to be a Lion.
Yeah. Dude, I would love it. I love Landon Collins. Landon Collins is a guy I'd like to see in New England, to be honest.
Hitter. Yeah.
And he's a really, really good player.
For sure.
He was like the only reason that defense was serviceable at times in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And like 3 years ago, when they were one of the best defenses, he was the biggest reason why, arguably.
I love him back there.
Yeah, I think he's excellent. And, dude, I'm the biggest Tyrann Mathieu slap you're ever going to find. So the other one is a guy who's being talked about a lot that I don't think the Lions should go get, and that's Trey Flowers. And I'm not saying it just because I want to hold on to him, which I do.
Yeah, I'm guessing you probably want to keep Trey Flowers.
I'm saying it because if the Patriots don't want to pay him and they don't want to hang on to him, and I know the old, like, they don't want to pay anybody.
You can't pay him and Hightower, right?
Right.
That's just would not be New England.
And Hightower said he's not taking a pay cut, which means
I don't blame him.
Probably not coming back to New England. But hey, good for him because he deserves
Super
to be
Bowls, and he's good.
He deserves to be rich.
Yeah.
He won us 3 Super Bowls. He deserves to be rich.
Good for him.
Trey Flowers, I just like if New England's willing to move on from him, that always scares me because they don't move on from anybody, and then that player finds success. Like Chandler Jones is the exception, not the rule.
That's fair. I mean,
you're going to pay this guy $24 million.
If they're not going to pay him, they have his rights till when? Like right after the draft, when the new league year starts, or whatever it is.
No, March. I don't know how that all works.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's so confusing because March 11th is free agency opening.
Okay, like so they can't trade him to the Lions for a pick, and just let the Lions sign him or tag him,
because they'll get the compensatory picks back
Right.
for him.
Okay,
because like that's what's going on with Chris Hogan. Is there's some 25 teams that are interested in him, and you just get 3rd round picks back when players leave.
Chris Hogan, don't do that. Like you're only good one place, man. You got cut in Miami for a reason.
He's not even good there.
Like yeah, like I don't do it. Don't leave the pirate ship because like just don't do it. That is like a real one. Do not leave New England.
No,
you are nothing without him.
No, he can take off. He can go.
But I mean, like
go get
for
paid.
him though, like you should not want to like whatever they offer you. Just be like, fine, stay here.
He's a guy who I'm surprised he's even getting looks.
He is fast as hell.
Yeah, but he can't beat man coverage.
24/7, right? What do they call him, 7-11 or 24/7?
Yeah,
or some shit?
but he's weak. He's weak on the line. He doesn't beat man coverage. He's got 0 explosiveness after the catch. He can't go over the middle.
And he's white, so he's Ben Affleck.
Yeah, true.
He is Ben
He's
Affleck.
white, so he's perfect for New England.
Exactly.
That's what I made. I said something about Chris Hogan, or it was because of Golden Tate said he wanted to come to New England. I was trying to think of what it was, and Golden Tate was like, "Yeah, I'd love to be a Patriot."
Yeah, I tell you what, the Lions better hit on that 3rd round pick.
Seriously. Golden Tate said he'd love to be a Patriot, and I was like, I don't think the Patriots are going to pay a 31-year-old wide receiver $14 million at this point. It's like it's not
be electric.
It's not really the Patriot way. I don't know that he would.
Oh, dude, he's amazing after the catch. Like,
I know, but
he's still so unbelievable.
I don't know. Like, he's on the wrong side of 30. He's going to cost a lot of money.
I'm not saying he's going to be good for
Patriot-style
5
move.
years, but he'd be good for 2 years.
It's not a Patriot style move to me. But I said I don't want to pay him. And then my friend goes, "Oh, you don't want to pay him, but you're paying Chris Hogan?" And my other friend goes, "Yeah, Golden Tate doesn't fit New England. He's not white."
There you go.
So he's not coming to New England. It's
Tough break.
just the way it is.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks was the exception. Brandon Cooks and Randy Moss, they were exceptions,
Moss
not
this,
rules.
Moss that.
So yeah, what a Lions draft. If they get a tight end in the 1st round, we're happy with it.
I'm cool with them waiting however long they're going to wait for a quarterback, but I don't want them to come out of this draft without one.
I would be okay if they came out of it without one, if they're not getting Kyler Murray or Dwayne Haskins.
They got to sign some. Stafford needs a kick in the ass.
But here's the thing. If you are going to come out of this draft without one, don't be good next year. Like, if you're going to come out of this draft without a quarterback, be bad and get one of the really good quarterbacks like Justin Herbert that's coming out of the draft next year.
I would like them to get somebody who can just kind of put a little bit of fire under him. Just to kind of be like, hey, this guy's not as good as you, but this guy also doesn't make $35 million.
I would like someone to come in and actually just take the fucking job.
That'd
to be honest
awesome.
with you, at this
that'd
point,
be great. Like I wouldn't care if he got Romo.
I think at this point it's very clear Stafford's not getting the job done here. Like it's just that is what it is.
I've always said I'm the guy who's like, I remember how awful it was before him, so I don't want to trash him because he's been consistent and at least he's been there. Like he shows up and he plays every Sunday
and he's tough.
He plays hard. He's tough. And he's not John Kitna. So that's a big positive in my eyes. But, man, it's starting to wear on me.
That's the other thing. It's difficult for me to talk about it because having been to the mountaintop, like, I just look at every other team and I'm like, you can't do it with this guy.
Oh,
and then it's like Lions fans are like, well, we've never had anyone this good before. And I'm like, well, that's the same thing Michigan State fans say with Mark D'Antonio. What are we going to stop with Mark D'Antonio for?
At least he won a Rose Bowl and a Cotton Bowl, and like he's had some like real legitimate success.
Well, yeah, but it's still like we've never had anybody this good before, so we're okay with being bad now.
It's like we've never had anybody this good who's never won a playoff game,
bro. Like that's the thing. Like,
but seriously, we've never had anybody.
We're
this
okay
good.
with being mediocre because we've never had anybody this good. Well, just like maybe shoot for better. I don't know.
Just like one division title before I turn 40 would be great. Like,
that would be excellent.
You got 14 years, guys.
Yeah.
Just get it done.
That's a pretty big window.
There's
going to be a lot of
It's been 25
quarterbacks.
years.
Yeah.
You'd think it's a big window, but it's been 25 years.
I would like to see, like, the Pistons 04 feels like it was 20,
Hell yeah,
30 years ago, and it was only, well, it was almost 20 years
Pistons
ago.
07 in the conference finals feels like it was 20 years ago.
With Flip Saunders.
Yeah. Getting taken out by LeBron.
Those Tigers World Series. The only team in Detroit that I truly have, like, a heartfelt connection to, by the way. Ooh, those feel like a long time ago.
I mean, the 2012 one was gone in a flash. Like, that just came and went so fast.
Speaking of the Pistons, we got to get to the Pistons.
We should.
NBA talk. So the Pistons are just... How do you feel about winning 9 out of 11 games,
Like I
being
said,
the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference?
Exactly. Like they're through 62 games. They got 20 games left. They are 500. Like, we're right at 500 in the East, sitting at 6th. These 9 of 11 are deceiving because, like we said, 5 of them, Cleveland, Washington, the Knicks twice, and the Hawks. Like, I'm sorry, those aren't great wins. And well, Blake got thrown out against Atlanta, and they still... Shut up. I don't care. Like, enough of that. The whole... Dwayne Casey's making these great adjustments. He played Andre Drummond with 5 fouls tonight for so long. He stayed. Zaza Pachulia got thrown out of the game. Thon Maker had 5 fouls. It was him or Thon. Who are you going to play? Pretty easy decision. Don't give Dwayne Casey credit for that. Like, he's done an okay job this year. They're 31-31. They weren't 31-31 last year. But at the same time, they're 31-31. Like, is that setting the world on fire, or is that the literal definition of middle of the road?
Yeah, here's my issue with the Pistons is, like, there's minor successes here. Being a 6th seed, going to the playoffs, those are minor successes in the NBA, and that's cool for, like, some teams. Like, for the Nets, being in the 7th seed with a look at the playoffs
That's
is
huge
fantastic.
for them. They just got out of jail.
They're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Like,
And they're
D'Angelo
young.
Russell being this good, nobody expected this.
And they're young.
Yeah, the Orlando Magic being the 8th seed is huge for the Orlando Magic.
They would
because
have a party and pop champagne if they make the playoffs.
they're playoff desperate.
Yeah.
The Pistons are playoff desperate, but for all the wrong reasons. And the problem,
And they're old, and they cost a lot of money.
yeah, and the problem that I have with it is, like, this is exactly what I told people when they got Blake Griffin. People were like, why are you upset that they got Blake Griffin? He's an all-star, he's a great player. And I'm like, I know that, and he's going to come here, and he's probably going to be a great player. I didn't expect him to be as good as he
Third team
is.
All-NBA right now for sure.
Oh, yeah, and I think he's having the best year of his career.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect this. I didn't expect that we would get the best years of Blake Griffin, but I did expect that we'd be around a 500 team,
Yeah.
that the Pistons would be like 31-31, 62 games in.
Where do you think they rank in field goal percentage in the NBA?
Oof. I don't know. I know that the Celtics ranked dead last since the All-Star break. Probably, let me guess, 28th?
You're one off. They're 29th. The only team that shoots worse than the Pistons is the Knicks, who are actively trying to lose.
Yeah,
who are fielding a team with Henry Ellenson on it, who you just cut.
They are not praying for the playoffs. They are praying
And
for
they are
Zion
0.08
Williamson.
percentage behind you in shooting percentage. 0.08. That's how far in front of you are.
I was just looking to see how many playoff teams have negative net ratings. The
Where do you
Pistons.
think the Pistons are in assist rate?
Ooh. Is Houston lower?
Yes, they are, by 2 spots. But they're
So-
also way better.
Yeah, well, 20, let's say 24.
Off by 2. 26.
That was
The
my,
Pistons.
I wanted to say 26, but it seemed a
26.
little low if Houston was 28. I was like, I don't know if they can be that low.
26. They're just...
Jeez, man.
they
And,
do-
like, I'm looking now, the Pistons have a negative 0.5 net. I think they might be the only, like, Minnesota's ahead of them. So the Pistons, the Magic, the Nets are the only playoff teams with negative net ratings.
Yeah, I just want everyone to know that looks can be deceiving, and the Pistons are still pretty just mediocre. Even when they're playing their best, they're mediocre. Like, they're top half of the league in turnover rate. Like, good for you. You know, you're 12th in turnover. Good for you. Like,
Which, I mean, that is actually, like, a good thing to be because a lot of teams aren't that. But then you
sure.
go, like...
But you're 23rd in points per game.
And they go, well, what about lately? Like, they're playing so well lately. Well, how about this? Over the last 15 games, guess who's number 2 in the NBA in net rating? The Orlando Magic.
Okay, thank you.
Are the Orlando Magic the second best team in the NBA? They're not even fucking close.
No.
So, like, these spurts are going to happen. Yeah, over the last 15 games, the Pistons are 4th in the NBA in net rating, 6.3. They're 4th in the NBA in offensive rating. Like, they're playing really well. They're also playing really bad teams.
Yeah.
And
we've mentioned it.
They're playoff desperate at a time where a lot of teams are either actively tanking or resting their players because they're already locked up.
And you know what they're not doing? locking in on defense. Like, they're still not doing it. Like, it's the one way you just climb back out of the basement is to do that. They're 24th in opponent's field goal percentage. Like, I don't understand why everybody thinks this is a thing. They're dead last in opponent's 3-point percentage.
Yeah,
Excuse me. No, that's where they're good. They are the best in 3-point percentage, in opponent's 3-point percentage. I messed that one up. I'll give them credit for that. But that's how bad they are at stopping anything else.
Which, it's just, like, it's not good. Like, it's just, we have a lot of fans in this town that want to come out and be like, well, they're going to make the playoffs, so that's good, right? And, like, in a way, I guess, if that's really what you want, to just get blown off the floor, who would they get right now? If the season ended today, the Pistons would play the 76ers in the first round.
Have fun.
Or no, they play the Pacers, excuse me.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
God forbid you get the Pacers and win that series.
They're not. I saw that on the jump this week. Paul Pierce and T-Mac were both like, I think they could beat them. I'm like, what are you talking? Because they won one game on a Wednesday in February.
And by the way, the Pacers are still like a really good defensive team.
They're phenomenal on defense.
So I don't
Nate
know.
McMillan should legitimately be up there for Coach of the Year.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
especially since they've been able to hold on without Oladipo, which nobody thought possible.
I am like, I would have never told you ever in a million years that I thought Bojan Bogdanovic is a borderline all-star. The dude's a borderline all-star.
He is. Like, Sabonis is like right there.
Oh, they're not going to be able to keep both of them.
No, there's no way.
No, yeah.
And that's good for those guys,
Bummer
really.
for them, but also great for them because, man, they got a great return in that Paul George trade.
I have a hot take about the Pacers. Like, if you're Anthony Davis and you're looking for a team to go to, like, obviously lifestyle plays a big part.
I mean, you're going to try to sell me Anthony Davis on
exactly.
Indiana right now.
Exactly.
That's a hot take.
No, I know, but I'm just like, are there really any better basketball situations for a free agent?
Probably. I'd have to think
like
about
if
it. I mean,
like if they not take lifestyle out of
like
it.
Toronto. Yeah. Like he
But like
could go to Toronto.
Is Kawhi still going to be there?
Well, if he is, then
that's where, like, if you are going to Indiana, you have Depot. You
probably don't have him next year, though. He's probably going to miss the whole year.
True, but like you're going to have Depot.
Yeah, eventually.
You're going to have Sabonis or
Are you
or
going to have
Bogdanovic.
Sabonis after next year?
Like you're going to have one or the other.
No, I mean Sabonis or Turner. One of them's going to have to go. You can't like they're already.
I feel like they got to lock up Turner. I feel like they
already
gotta
did.
Lock up Turner.
They locked him up.
Like
they gave him 4 and 80.
I love Turner.
He's a good player. Sabonis, like they can't both play together. That's going to be the thing. Can they figure out how to play together? And then what does Sabonis want? Because if he wants 4 for 80. He's going to get it from somebody. Like the Kings offered that to Zach LaVine. You think somebody's not going to throw that at Domantas Sabonis? Shout out to Zach LaVine. He had a 40-point night this week. I shouldn't trash you like that. You're on the worst team in the NBA, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, it's
Shout
not
out
his
to your
fault.
leadership council. You keep grinding. Otto Porter, new member
Who
of
would
the
have
leadership
thought?
council.
Who would have thought Trae Young versus Zach LaVine would have been one of the best duels of the year?
I'm not going to lie to you. I was all in on Zach LaVine to start this year. I was like, this is a breakout year. He's going to make an all-star team. He's going to lead the Bulls in scoring. I mean, he is leading. He's doing those things. He wasn't anywhere near the all-star team, but he was doing
leading
those
the Bulls
things.
in scoring.
Maybe if he'd have won the dunk contest, he could have gone to the
Doesn't have
all-star
to do
game.
a whole lot to lead the Bulls in scoring, but he's doing it.
I mean, in spite of a head coach who literally wants him to walk the ball up the floor and play the flex offense like he's a junior in high school.
Dude, that guy's just...
I'm telling you, they just added Otto Porter to the leadership council. I think some things are going to shake up in Chicago because they still have a leadership council as an NBA team.
Where is your level of fear that the Pistons could win a playoff series?
It would entirely depend on how they get seeded. If they get 6 and Indiana's at 3, like I know I just said there's no chance they beat them, but that's the only team they could beat.
It's 50-50 for me.
That's the only team they could beat. You're not beating any of those other.
You're going to get into a second round series where you're going to get matched up against Milwaukee or Toronto, and you're just screwed.
The argument is the same one that everybody uses for why Boston won't be able to do it. Is well, they won't have the best player on the floor. The Pistons will have the best player on the floor if they play Indiana in a first round series.
Absolutely,
no doubt about it. So, like, yeah, theoretically they could win, and they will also have the best rebounder in any series.
True.
So
as long as he's not on Xanax,
right? As long as he doesn't get 4 fouls in 7 minutes like he did tonight.
By the
but
way,
he still had like
were you
17
watching the game the other night when Blake Griffin was going up for an offensive rebound? He was trying to get a putback, and Andre Drummond, rebound hunting, knocked the ball out of his hands.
He chases him bad.
And Blake Griffin was visibly angry, screaming at Andre for hunting the rebound and killing the putback opportunity. It's like, this is another thing where Pistons fans will go, well, look at Andre Drummond. He's a true center. He works the glass. And I'm like, bro.
I want to give him credit. Like, he has picked up his game He
shoots free throws now.
Yes, he has picked up his game in these last 10 or 11 or whatever it is, and he has played much better because, I mean, right before the All-Star break, and really for the most part, he was sluggish. He was not good
I still
all
remember
year.
that game in Sacramento where it looked like he came out.
Oh, yeah, without Blake.
Yeah.
He had a chance to go out and dominate, and he laid an egg.
Dude looked like he was on Valium.
Yeah, he was terrible, and he really has picked it up. And I trash guys when they're bad. I want to praise them when they're good. He has played much better. Am I counting on him for 20 and 15 in a playoff series? No, of course not. Like, he is not that good of a scorer down low on the block. It's just what it is. He's a guy who's going to rebound. Hopefully, he'll give you rim protection if he's motivated.
Is he still the worst shooting center inside of 3 feet?
Yes, he is, by percentages.
So, like, as much as people want to, this guy should be an all-star, and mostly that's him whining and being like, I should be an all-star.
He does lead the league in rebounds. Like,
yeah, but cool. Like,
that might be enough to get you an all-star in the East.
It's it's not anymore.
No, I mean,
and it's not something to
not
really
when
brag.
Nick Vucevic plays well. No,
yeah, I'm
like,
leading
that's why
the
he made
league
it
in
last year,
rebounds.
because who else was going to make it? And he was a replacement last year too.
True
for Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis.
Remember
him?
The Knicks don't.
They don't want to. They
sure
don't want to
don't.
remember him.
I can't talk about the Pistons this much. That's
No, okay.
That's the
We
other
can
thing
move
that
off the
bothers me
Pistons
about the
real quick.
Pistons is like they're not even fun to talk about because they just they're going to make the playoffs. I've resigned myself to that fact.
Pistons Twitter was wild tonight.
Were they happy?
Yeah, like way too happy. Well, mainly because Greg Kelser was way too happy. Like, and that's not his fault. He's paid by the team. He's contracted by the team. He has to say nice things, and he's not allowed to say bad things. But, like, man, did he call Reggie Jackson clutch about 17,000 times tonight. And I was like, why? Because he hit a contested three in the corner? Like, he just dribbled away the last two possessions, threw one away on a pass behind Blake, and then dribbled to 1 second and threw it to the corner to Bruce Brown to get a shot clock violation. He could have won the game twice in regulation. He blew him. How is that clutch?
Like, I understand the thought that...
Kyle Lowry hit a wide open three to tie the game. Where was Reggie?
Right. Well, dude,
How's that clutch?
We can talk
Clutch
Reggie's
goes on
not
both
being
ends.
clutch all.
Like, and
I
take
just
the number off.
I don't understand why fans are happy. Like,
I'm never happy.
I understand like making the playoffs is fun, I guess.
Yeah, I love watching. Like, even when they got shit on by Cleveland a couple years ago, at least it was fun to watch them in the playoffs again.
But no, it wasn't.
It kind of was for a minute. Like, they hadn't been there in a long time.
Yeah, and it was at least the games were competitive.
Yeah,
Even if
exactly.
it was a sweep, but like,
Stanley Johnson was taking LeBron's head.
The cool thing about playoff basketball is people don't appreciate the fact that regular season basketball is not really basketball. Like, basketball is played in the playoffs.
Like, it's like, I always hear that about hockey.
It's like
oh, the
hard
intensity
screens.
of playoff hockey. Like, no, dude, the intensity of playoff basketball is wild. It is basketball at the absolute highest level.
Absolutely.
It's so fun to watch.
It's hard screens.
Like,
it's
the shot
every
making.
single...
The shot making in the playoffs is insane.
Like Damian Lillard in the playoffs,
Yeah.
that 1 year when he aced Houston,
Yeah.
the shots he was making
was like his second
were
year in the
incredible.
league.
Like Kyrie with the Cavs in
Yeah.
the play, like playoff Kyrie is something to behold.
Old
It's
Ray
a
Allen.
magician. Yeah,
Old
dude.
Rip Hamilton coming off screens.
Chauncey Billups,
Yeah.
Mr. Big Shot.
They never like playoff basketball. We got 20 games left. It's in my veins.
I know,
right
dude.
now.
I'm getting
feeling
amped for the play because the playoffs. It's also like I've said it before on this podcast, and a lot of people don't understand. It's a completely different style. Like the game slows down more. It's more low scoring. It's more defense first. Like guys are actually trying on defense.
Yeah.
They make jokes about the All-Star game. Nobody tries on defense, dude. People are like 50 to 80% on defense all regular season. You're not 100% on defense until we get to April.
No. You're not 100% on defense until second round.
Seriously.
Unless you really have to be in the first round.
Especially if you're in the East.
Yeah.
Like, maybe in the West where Denver's going to get the Clippers, Denver might be giving their all on defense. But, like...
How bad does the NBA need LeBron in the Western Conference playoffs? Like,
I don't know.
It's already like, oh, we know Golden State's going to win. Why would I watch these first two rounds? It's like, if LeBron's not even in it, no one's going to watch till the conference finals.
And the more I look at this, like... Denver and the Clippers is just like, I guess, a cool series.
That's got NBA TV written all over.
Yeah,
it.
dude.
Like,
that's got NBA League Pass written all over it. That's got
a nationally
regional
televised
coverage.
playoff series.
That's literally regional
that's
coverage.
The usual like Toronto Milwaukee 2-7 matchup,
Like,
or Atlanta. That's where NBA TV is. So they always played. The Atlanta always had to play the NBA TV series.
Golden State and the Spurs. No, thank you. Portland and Houston would be fun.
Yeah,
And
that would be a lot of fun.
OKC and Utah would be really fun.
Oh, I want to talk about the Jazz when we get. I'm excited.
Those would
to
be
talk
fun
about the Jazz.
But you're right. Like without LeBron in the Western Conference playoffs, there's nothing fun.
I need the Lakers to be in. I need LeBron.
The East in the first round is kind of in the same boat. Like Bucks Magic.
Oh God,
I'm good.
Never mind. That one's on NBA TV. Think of those two TV markets.
Yeah,
Milwaukee and Orlando.
Bucks Magic is also on regional coverage.
Oh God.
Raptors Nets could actually be kind of entertaining. It'd be like a 5-game series, but it might be 5 really fun games.
Unless Toronto just amped up the D, that'd be great.
I mean, if we get playoff Kawhi, like the Nets are done in 4, and they're getting cooked every game. But like Pacers, Pistons also could be trash. Sixers, Celtics first round. That's going to be on TNT every single game.
Who has the East? Is it TNT or ESPN this year?
Oh, I don't know.
Either way,
it'll
so
be on
many Mike
every
bangs.
single one of those games will be on ESPN or TNT. They will have the early slot every single time. Like, and then after that, you're going to have a Milwaukee, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Toronto,
the
Philly,
second
Toronto,
round on both
Boston.
sides will be great.
Yeah, it'll be insane. Like that's where the second round of the playoffs is when it ratchets up.
Yeah.
Speaking of the playoffs, and there will be, I fully believe there will be a team from Los Angeles in the playoffs. I also fully believe LeBron will not be on that team.
I need him to be like the Lakers. I've talked about how Magic Johnson has failed, and of course we said it last week, and then the whole world wants to steal my thunder and talk about, man, he gave Michael Beasley that Brook Lopez contract. It's like, yeah, I've been saying that for 6 months. Nobody listened.
Maybe they did listen. Now that's why they're saying it.
They're big subscribers. But yeah, I mean, like they have to make the playoffs. You cannot sign the best player in the world and then give out a bunch of free agent contracts to proven veterans. I hope the fact that this is a podcast, I'm still using air quotes, proven veterans.
Like the mean team.
You can't miss. It's an organizational failure for the best organization in the history. I know you're a Celtics guy. The best organization in the history of the NBA. You cannot fail with the best player in the world on your team. You have to make the playoffs. You have to.
First of all, the best organization in the history of the NBA would not claim 5 titles from when they were in Minnesota.
Okay, I mean, come on. Like, that's such a Celtics thing to say. Just because they moved. It's like Sean Kemp's not allowed to have his number retired in Oklahoma City. It's the same organization.
How many people you think are like, why the hell is the Lakers called the Lakers and don't realize that they were in Minnesota
2
for
lakes
so long?
in all of California.
No, I think it's a huge organizational failure. I also think that this is probably the most classic situation, and it's actually kind of starting to turn the other way. Is like, this was the most obvious we're letting LeBron off the hook year I've ever seen. It was like, yeah, they
missed 18 games.
Right, but it was still like the roster around him is no good. And I know that before he got hurt, they were on pace for like 45 wins.
Yeah, they were like at the 4 spot.
Yeah, like they could have been
Golden
going
State
for the 3
by
seed.
how much on Christmas Day the day he got hurt? Yeah.
And so I'm like, I get that, but at the same time, that effort that I saw from him against Memphis was atrocious.
I mean, it didn't get better against Phoenix.
He's not. I mean, yeah, and he put up 27 points. He had a big fourth quarter, but like, dude, he's not playing any type of defense. I
love the comment though. They're like, "Yeah, try me. Think I'm not playing defense? Let's see if they come at me. Go ahead, try me. See what happens."
Dude has absolutely no interest in switching.
No,
none. He has no interest in closing out.
I love when they run a high ball screen and he goes underneath it every single time and he just turns and looks at whoever like, why didn't you fight through that screen? And I'm like, why did you have to fight through the screen? Why can't you be there?
That was the best when he was like standing in the paint against Memphis and whoever it was just came down, knocked down a 3, and Kuzma comes down, rotates correctly, and LeBron looks over at Kuzma and he
stares at him like, what do you do? He's like, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Like, this is 100% our defensive scheme.
And then the worst was like there were Laker fans that are like, LeBron's supposed to make that switch. Like, what switch? There was no switch.
There was not a switch.
He was just supposed to come up and play the 3-point line.
Supposed to stop the ball.
So that's my issue is like LeBron's getting let off the hook with like Luke Walton. The scheme's not working. He's not managing the team appropriately. Dude, I feel bad for him too because he's.
I mean, in a sense, I feel bad for him. Like, in a sense, I feel bad for him. In a sense, he's going to have another job in 5 seconds. Like, it will not take 10 minutes.
He might even have success.
I don't even think he's going to have to move. Like, I think he's going to take the UCLA gig, and that's, like, he'll have plenty of success.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense why UCLA hasn't hired a coach yet, right? They got to be holding out for him.
Sure.
They have to think he's getting fired. So...
Well, I think everybody thinks he's getting fired at this point.
But I think
Luke Walton thinks he's getting fired.
If you're UCLA, you would have hired a coach, or at least like there would have been some names out there. Like, so it's got to be Luke.
They're 4.5 games out of the playoffs.
Right.
I think at this point it's fair to put a bit of that blame on LeBron.
more than fair.
Yeah. Especially, like, I get he scored 27 points, but dude, you're losing to the Suns.
They lost to the Suns twice this year.
And the worst part to me is, for the first time in his career, Brandon Ingram is kind of living up to the hype.
Scoring-wise.
And LeBron's wasting it.
Yeah.
Like, LeBron and the rest of that team are wasting Brandon Ingram's best stretch of games of his entire life.
It's not just that he's making shots. He's been way more aggressive in the last couple of weeks.
He's been playing...
Since the break, he's been way more aggressive.
He's been playing well off ball. Like, he understands his role in the offense.
But even early, like, you see him come down and he's looking for his shot early in the first quarter.
And he knows, like, he's finally, like, understanding basketball and playing in the flow of an offense. And it's
handling that he's scoring off the bounce. He's coming off the ball. He's doing. I mean, he's scoring in the post. He's scoring from outside. He's not a great 3-point shooter, but he's shooting well.
Been better lately.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just like LeBron is just wasting it.
It's not the young guys.
The worst is when like LeBron. No, it's not. It's JaVale McGee is playing horribly.
Rondo's played better the last couple, but like he had been kind of bad.
Even in the game that he like dragged them and clawed them back into that Milwaukee game and damn near won it. Dude, he was chucking early. And first, second quarter, he was just throwing up threes.
Another thing, for as putrid as his shooting percentage is, and it is putrid, they miss Lonzo.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
because and especially defensively, because
and
he's so locked down.
Like they got to run. Like they're young and they're fast. They got to go.
The problem with Lonzo, and this is why again, even if he comes back and they're 2-3 games out of the 8 seed with 10 games left to play, and there's a real push. Dude, if Lonzo's getting to the free throw line late in push games, it's not going to be a good look.
It's tough.
And that's, again, like, what are you going to do? Give it to LeBron? Not a great free throw shooter. You're going to give it to Kuzma? Like, there's nobody on that team, Ingram, nobody on that team that's going to the line and just icing clutch free throws. Nobody.
Lance.
Yeah, okay. Lance Stevens, if he can get on the floor.
Yeah,
like, this is, it is those guys. Like, they brought in all these veterans, the Michael Beasleys, the JaVale McGees, the Lance Stevensons, LeBron, Rondo.
They might be on Bogut again.
They are all the reason why.
There'll be another team that's in on Bogut. He was just there, wasn't he? Didn't he play for the Lakers for like 5 minutes?
He did. He won a title with LeBron, man. I mean, all I'm saying is.
Did he? No.
I thought he was on that team.
That was 2017. He signed and broke his leg.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. Should we get to power ranks?
Yeah, let's go for it. So guess who's not on the power ranks again?
I'm going to guess the Celtics.
Yeah, it's the Boston Celtics.
Take a stab in the dark there.
Lost 5 out of 6 games.
Yeah, I don't have them on mine either.
Are they in your honorable mentions even?
They're not.
It's rough. It's a rough time.
Yeah.
You keep telling me that you would love to switch.
I mean, I still would. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I would gladly change places with you. But
where are we at with that? Like, I'm at the optimist in me is still at the fourth quarter tonight against Houston.
It all started when Kyrie wasn't on the floor, though. Like, they seem to just really like playing with each other a lot more when number 11 is not on the floor.
I don't know if it's when he's not on the floor so much as it is when number 13 isn't on the floor.
Well, I mean, it's both, but like you can see it. Like, everybody is just so much more aggressive when Kyrie's not out there. Like, they want to be the guy.
They're not. Actually, today's the first time that I've seen that in a really long time. And it was like Jalen had super high levels of energy where he was like out there. He was going nuts. Yeah. Marcus Smart was going nuts.
The braids are back.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Jason Tatum was out there like balling.
The Jays.
And it was a time like I flashed back to last year's playoffs for a minute. I was like, "What? This is really fun to watch right now." And I haven't had fun watching the Celtics in like the better part of a month.
And then Terry Rozier missed 3 free throws.
Yeah, and hey, I'm the first to slander Terry because it's missing 3 free throws, missing the corner 3. I would put the onus of this game more on him than I would on Kyrie coming back in.
Were they in your honorable mention?
No. Dude, I'm having trouble with them right now. As much as I want to say that I think they're a first round out, I still think they beat the Sixers just because I think Brett Brown is that porous, scheming, and Embiid.
He's got to go.
At this point, Embiid is such a head case when it comes to playing the Celtics.
I mean, Philly's in my honorable mention, and I'm going to keep harping on it because like their season goes as Embiid's knee goes. Like,
sure.
Like they are not going anywhere if his knee is not better, and they are insanely limited at backup big. Now with Boban out too.
Sure.
Like they're playing Jonah Bolden a lot of minutes.
And you know what's wild, though? They didn't look so bad with a center who can actually hit 3-pointers.
No, Embiid can hit 3-pointers.
Sometimes.
Either way, they're one of my honorable mentions. OKC lost 4 in a row, so I dropped them all the way to honorable mention.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. The thing with the Sixers is it's tough with them because I think as far as 5-man lineups go, it's Golden State and Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I
no
just
doubt.
think like Philly's lineup has so much less chemistry, or like they're not.
Well, I mean, they're so new to each other.
They're also used really improperly, and there's very limited shooting in every position. Like outside of Tobias and JJ Redick, there's nobody that I really want shooting the ball.
I wish Jeff Van Gundy coached that team.
Jeff Van Gundy would whip that team into shape.
I really wish Jeff Van Gundy coached that team.
Can you imagine? Like Jeff Van Gundy would have absolutely no patience for Ben Simmons not shooting a three.
He would tell him shoot it every single time.
Yeah, he would have zero patience.
He says it every time he comes. Like, you got to shoot it. Like every time he comes in, if they're giving it to you, you have to shoot. Look at Rondo. Like you said just a minute ago, he hoisted like 12 threes in the first half.
Dude,
they were leaving him wide open.
It's a new league. You're a point. You want to play point guard? Shoot threes.
If they're going to give it to you, you have to shoot, because if you don't, they won't respect it, and they'll keep playing 4-on-5 and just jam the paint.
And he's starting to do it. Like he's starting to step into some, but it's not good.
Right? No. It's Uncle Ben on the driveway being like, "Let me get another one."
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I saw a great quote that I related to Marcus Morris was. It's more Marcus Morris than Ben Simmons, but it was somebody that said, I just remembered like 8 years ago when I was at the Y and I pulled up a 3-pointer and missed, and somebody on my team was like, bro, you can't be missing these shots. He said, yes, I can.
Okay. I mean, yeah, good for them. Honorable mention, other than that, Denver, I don't know how to explain a loss to New Orleans at home, or else I would have had them in the power ranks this week, but they lost to New Orleans at home.
They just, to me, I have an honorable mention too. I almost dropped them out of it. I don't care if you're the 2 seed in the West. Like seeding, especially.
That's why I have them there, though, because I think they are in the 2 seed. I don't think any of those teams are catching them. I think they're in the 2 seed.
I agree. They're in the, like they have a 3.5 game lead on it. They're in the driver's seat for it.
Yeah.
I relate it to hockey a little bit, where like hockey fans will look at you and go, it's so much better because like the 8 seed actually has a shot. That's not true in the NBA. The 8 seed has no shot.
Oh, what about the Warriors when they beat the Mavericks? They lost in 5 games to Utah in the second round. That's
exactly.
What happened.
And the 8 seed has no shot. But the other thing is, I don't think seeding is like all that reflective of what team is the best. Like I think in the East, the Celtics with the 5th seed still have the second or third best chance to go to the finals.
Definitely.
I think like in the last year in the West, Golden State was a 2, and nobody was picking them to go anywhere but the finals.
They weren't
like
worried.
The Cavs were the 4.
Yeah.
Nobody was picking them to not go to the finals. So it's like seeding doesn't matter a whole lot in basketball as long as you're in the top 5.
For sure.
And that's where I'm like with Denver, yeah, they're a 2, but I don't think they're going to be playing like a playoff 2.
There's
it's
still
a lot
that
of guys
part
who
of
have
my mind that if the Lakers get to the 7, they're going to beat Denver.
Sure, and like even the Clippers, I think would have a shot, and it's because it's 2 inexperienced teams. Like Denver has no experience. If Denver gets out of the first round, do I think that they're going to beat James Harden? Do I think that they're going to beat Paul George and Russell Westbrook if they get out of the first round? Do I think they could take Utah? Not really.
I'm still so wary of the Rockets as it goes on with their health.
I mean, if they stay healthy, I think they're as good as anybody.
If they stay healthy, yeah, definitely.
But that's like I don't. Look, if Denver gets out of the first round, I don't have a lot of faith that they're taking on Houston. Yep. I don't have a lot of faith that they're taking on OKC. I don't, like, even Portland. I don't have a ton of faith.
Utah?
I'm not ready to go there.
I mean, this is my last team. I'm psyched for the Jazz right now. I've been on the Jazz all year.
I got to see Donovan Mitchell do it.
They're coming,
Utah,
man.
you know how people say, I can't doubt LeBron until he doesn't make the playoffs?
I mean, Donovan Mitchell's won a playoff series. He put them on his back and won that playoff series.
Yeah, but
last year.
I feel like, honest to God, I almost feel like Oklahoma City lost that more than Utah won it.
Russell Westbrook took like 47 shots in Game 7 of that.
Paul George played as badly as I have ever seen him play in the playoffs.
Melo was on their team. Shout out to Melo.
Playoff Melo, dude. And I put it more on OKC than Utah. I got to see him do it. And this is the year where I have to see you beat a good team. You're going to get OKC in the first round.
They've won 4 in a row against 3 playoff teams. And if you want to talk about a weak schedule for March, they play 2 teams in all of March that are over 500.
I think they have a good shot to like get up there with Portland and Houston and battle for that 4 seed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like OKC, I think still has a shot to battle for the 2. I know it's a long shot.
Oh, and they already beat one of those over 500 teams. It was Milwaukee. So they have one more game in March. It is March 4th, and they have one more game in March against a plus 500 team.
If I would have told you in September that on March 3rd, the Milwaukee Bucks would be the best team in basketball.
I still don't think they're the best team in best record.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you look at it, it's like Budenholzer did that his second year in Atlanta.
They got the highest point differential in the league.
Yeah, they do things. Is that who do you got at 5?
So my 5 is the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
Dude, healthy. I think they're as good as anybody. And like getting Capella back and what Chris Paul has been doing. Chris Paul is somebody that like I heard this on a Ringer podcast and I felt it because when he was gone, it felt like I forgot who he was. Like I forgot how good he is and how creative he is.
He's healthy.
In
he's
offense.
Still unbelievable.
Like he today for the it was sometime in the third quarter, maybe early fourth quarter, and they were like Chris Paul's scored 6 points, and I was like, dude has been impacting this game in more ways
Probably
than one.
had like 10 assists.
Yeah,
and turnovers.
he was dishing, and it's like the way that he finds offense and his court vision. I always forget how good it is.
He's special.
And him and Harden together is a vicious pairing, especially when Capella's healthy, because Capella just dominates down low. He's an offensive rebounding machine.
He's so good at just like it seems like such a trivial thing to say, but there are so many bigs who don't do it well. He rolls so well.
Yep.
Like he just dives at the rim so well. It helps so much to suck in defenders from the perimeter and take them away from Eric Gordon and Gerald Green and let Chris Paul be like he's so important to their spacing. Even though he doesn't shoot, all he can do is run at the rim, but he does it so well.
The thing about the Houston Rockets is that like I don't think Mike D'Antoni basketball can win in the playoffs. I still think
if Robert Horry hadn't shoved Steve Nash, they might have won a title.
Well, okay, but there was like a graphic I saw that showed the most efficient offenses in the league, and it was the top 4, and it based it on ball movement, pace, shot selection, something else, and it was like the Rockets were a straight line between pace and shot selection. There is no ball movement. There's no screen action. It's just ISO up and every other offense was like a massive diamond of we do it all. The Rockets do literally one thing, and I think when you get to the playoffs, you need to share the ball more than they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I have them at 4. I have Portland at 5, but we'll stay on Houston for a second. Like, they're one game back of 3rd in the West, and when you take in how they started and all they've been through with injury-wise, like that's pretty damn impressive for them to be there where they are. Remember, they didn't have Jeff Bezdelic at the beginning of the year as a defensive coordinator, and their defense was in shambles.
Yep. And a lot of it comes on James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, and they get him back, and then all of a sudden the defense looks good again, and I don't know why, because Jeff Bezdelic was an absolute failure at Wake Forest, but apparently he can coach defense. So Portland is my 5. They won 5 in a row before that 2-point loss in Toronto, and then they rebounded today and beat Charlotte, despite CJ having 6 points on 2 for 13 from the floor. The thing I love about Portland is like the versatility among all their different positions is insane because they have bigs who all do different things. And they have wings who all do different things. Like they're not overloaded with shooters.
Sure.
They're not overloaded with post bigs. Like they just have all this different versatility in their lineup. It's just like they complement each other so well, and they have Dame.
I have them at 4. So it's good that we kicked it off with the Rockets and Trailblazers. The reason I have them so high, I don't care about the 2-point loss in Toronto, really. Who's winning that game?
Right.
And the fact that they made it that close. When they came into Boston, after Boston's coming off the Chicago loss and then a loss where they just didn't give a shit in Toronto. Like they had no effort.
Right.
And then Boston's coming home to the Garden off of 2 losses. Portland's coming in. I know Boston's on a back-to-back, but that game to me was like, there's no way in hell Boston loses this game. And Portland went in and sucked the life out of them defensively. Like Nurkic, who is the son of a Bosnian riot police officer.
Like the perfect dad for him.
Was just eating people alive in the paint. Like his defense was unbelievable late in that game. Like not a lot of people son Al Horford. No. And I know Al Horford's like not a very flashy player, but that guy dominates the block. Nurkic wasn't letting him get anything done. It was really impressive to me how cohesive Nurk and Dame and CJ McCollum all are right now.
Like Nurk is so big for them every single night. Doing that, he had a 5-for-5 game earlier this year.
Yeah,
like those don't just like you got to be really good to have a 5-for-5 game. That's huge.
He is probably to me one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated bigs in the league.
Yeah, he's right there with Steven Adams.
He's a do-it-all type guy, and he's really good at everything he does. And I just like, especially with that team where last year with the two guys, like the 2 guard set with Dame and CJ McCollum, like we saw how far that gets you, and you're almost like, I don't know if this is a team that can win. But having a guy like Nurkic who kind of fills that LaMarcus Aldridge role, but maybe even better, that's huge for that team.
That's a good comp. I mean, even then, like we talked about that 2-point loss in Toronto. Like, sans that, they would have been winning. They'd have 7 in a row right now. And on top of that, in Toronto, they didn't have Canner, which is a whole situation in itself that's super fucked up, but we're not going to get into that. But, like, for Toronto, that's a hugely important piece to play Toronto, is to have a backup big. Like, they're going to throw Gasol and Ibaka and all these bigs.
The big fear with Toronto right now is the fact that they have Ibaka and Gasol.
So having Canner would have made a huge difference for them in that. Who you got a 3?
Toronto.
Okay.
Speaking of which... Yeah, no, I think that they're playing really good basketball. Even with the loss in Detroit today, they didn't have Kawhi.
Yeah,
so I don't chalk up a ton to that. Kyle Lowry's been playing pretty well.
Starting to come back shooting-wise.
Now, I don't know if that's going to hold over into the playoffs, which we'll get to in a couple weeks, but I just like this team. And I didn't think I would, but like going out and getting Marc Gasol does so much for them as far as spacing the floor. Like, you already had Ibaka, so you were already getting that, but like... I just feel like getting Gasol, he's a better version of that player.
As his
he's
comfort
a better and
level
bigger
grows
version of that
too,
player.
Like, they'll start to be more cohesive as his comfort level grows. And I talked about Utah having a cake schedule in March. Toronto, let me see where I have it here. They played the Rockets. They play the Rockets this Tuesday, and it's their only game against a 500 team in March, except for a home and home with OKC. So they got 3 games left in March against the 500 team.
It's a tough stretch.
Yeah,
but I mean. They're done with Boston, which that's good for them.
Yeah, I mean, they got cake for all of March now. They can solidify themselves. They can hunt that 1 seed if they really want to go after it.
It's going to be a battle. They're 2.5 games out.
But
I think they're going to go more the rest route.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they'll probably
Kawhi
take their foot off the gas.
is clearly very healthy, and it's like let's make sure that he can
sit him tonight.
Let's make sure that he continues to be very healthy. But yeah, they have a 5-game lead on the Pacers. They're 2.5 games out of Milwaukee. Yeah. Dude, if it's the Eastern Conference this year in the playoffs, you're going to have to go on the road and win one if you want to go to the finals, even if you're Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, 8-1 in February. They had an 8-1 record in February, like I said.
So at this point, I think they're in cruise control.
I have them at 2. Like, I have Milwaukee at 3. I have them at 2. But like, I mean, you got anything else in Toronto?
Not really.
No, I mean, so Milwaukee at 3 for me. Like, the fact that Giannis scored 43, 15, and 8 in a loss to Utah. It
doesn't need a 3-point shot to do it.
It says a whole lot about how tough it is to win in Utah, but it also says a whole lot about how Giannis has to be phenomenal every night for them to win when they're playing good teams.
Yeah. No, that is true. I have Milwaukee at 1. I have Golden State at 2.
Whoa.
The reason I have Milwaukee at 1 is just, dude, all the numbers point to it. Like, being as good offensive.
You're starting to hear that from people around it, too. Be like, they could be Golden State. And it's like, you say that until they have to play them.
Like, I'm not ready to. I don't even know if they can beat Boston or Toronto or Philly.
It'll be tough. Like, that second half against Boston really got to me.
Yeah, and again, I'm just basing this off regular season right now. I have Milwaukee 1. But you're right. We get into the playoffs, the way that it looks like how Giannis has to be Superman sometimes. Now, Bledsoe put on against the Lakers.
I love Eric Bledsoe. I mean, I've been singing Eric Bledsoe praises on here for weeks.
If he goes ghost in the playoffs, they're fucked.
Yeah, it's true.
They're fucked.
They need him to be really good. They need Brogdon to be really good. They need everybody to be really good.
They need Niko Mirotic to be really good.
They just signed Pau Gasol. I don't even know why they did that.
I don't know if he's going to get any minutes, but
whose minutes is he getting?
Exactly. And that's, if somebody was like, well, Niko Mirotic plays more of like a 3-4 role than, I'm like, but on that team,
Niko
dude,
Mirotic to defend a 3 in the playoffs, good luck.
Yeah, and I'm like, on that team where you, like, when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, you don't need a ton of 5s. You don't need true centers because you have one who's patrolling the perimeter.
I'm very curious what their best lineup is in a matchup with Toronto. Like, because they could kind of go big, but I don't think their bigs are evenly matched, and you can't have Mirotic playing the 3 when you have Kawhi and Danny Green on the floor at the same time. Like, I wonder what that lineup would look like.
I don't know if we're going to get to see it because I don't think that both of those teams are going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It'll be tough. It'll be interesting, but
it'll definitely be fun.
Yeah, I still have Golden State at 1. Like, so, they can have a 1 and 2 week, and I'm not going to drop them. The win against Philly is nice too.
Yeah, the reason I have, and it was a good
without Clay,
but also without Embiid.
Right, fair.
The reason I have him at 2 is because I think that we let them off the hook a lot, and they've earned it. They've definitely earned it.
So.
And it's like, yeah, you have Steph Curry, you have Kevin Durant, who is the 2 best scoring combo in the league, but the KD Draymond thing is starting to come back a little bit.
I'm just not paying as much attention to that.
I know, and it feels like, they just don't give a shit until they get to the playoffs.
I just feel like once the goal is right in front of them and they can see it again and it's right there, like they're not going to care about whatever chemistry or whatever's going to happen next year. It's all about what happens over the next couple months.
By the way, that's why I still have the Celtics playing them in June. But
that's fair. That's totally fair.
I think once the playoffs start and you see, we're right
like,
there.
Okay, now this matters. Now it's real. Now we have
fuck
to
all
win.
the other shit.
Exactly.
Like, let's go.
Like, forget it. But I think for Golden State, like, how much do they care about that 1 seed? Because they got 5 out of the next 6 are Boston, Denver, at Houston, at OKC, and at San Antonio.
It might be time to rest.
That's what I'm saying. If they take 2 of those games off, they're going to lose.
The other thing is, like, Boston's going to be coming in on Tuesday night extremely hungry.
Followed by Denver, followed by Houston, followed by OKC before they get a break and then go to San Antonio.
Denver cares about that 1 seed way more than Golden State cares about it.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're going to get 2 really hungry teams in the next 2 games.
Will they rest guys?
My thing with Golden State is also, like, I think we're starting to see a little bit of, one, having Boogie Cousins on that team isn't necessarily really helpful.
Still think in the playoffs it's going to be.
Right. As good as he plays, I feel like there's a little bit of chemistry issues starting to show up. I think there's a little bit of he doesn't fit the scheme. He's not a switch everything guy.
Defensively, he definitely doesn't fit the scheme. Offensively, he can be the scheme if you need him to be.
Sure. But they will never need him to be.
But you don't know, like in the playoffs, when it slows down, they've never had a guy to throw the ball on the block to and just go get one. Like, you can say Durant, you can argue he could just go ISO down the block and score like that. But like Boogie can just bang and put Jokic in foul trouble and put Nurkic in foul trouble and put all these guys on the bench because he can score on the block better than anybody else in the Western Conference.
My issue is it's still like they've never had that, but they've never needed it because every time in the playoffs when the game does slow down and they struggle to score, then they have a 5-minute run where they hang 30 points on you.
They do that.
And it's just like that.
It's a common occurrence.
Couple minutes didn't matter. Yeah. Like, how many times in the playoffs in the last 4 years have we seen a third quarter where Golden State's...
Oh, I mean, they gas it in the third quarter.
They're down like 6 points entering the third, and by the end of it, they're up 25.
Yeah, they gas it.
So it's like they've never had that, but I don't know that they've necessarily needed it. And now they have it, but it's come at the cost of a lot of depth. Like, Andre Iguodala's not any younger.
They'll be on the buyout market. They got an open roster spot.
But are you really going to be turning to Kevon Looney and Jordan Bell to give you big minutes in playoff series?
Another thing to look at, Damian Jones is going to come back from that lung thing or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he played really well to start the season before he got hurt. That's another guy who could give them depth.
And again,
they'll be in on Bogut. For sure.
Oh, definitely. And I think like that's 3 teams, like you said, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Celtics are 3 teams that are going to be looking at Bogut.
I think the Warriors are probably lean more towards a wing with that roster spot more than a big.
But I don't know what's really out there as far as wings go, but
Carmelo Anthony.
Stop, bro. If Carmelo Anthony goes to Golden State, I don't even know if I can pick him to win.
1,000%.
I don't know if I could even pick him to win.
Olympic Melo.
The thing with if Melo went to Golden State, they'd be like, bro, we're going to make you our 14th man. You are never going to see the floor. You're going to get a ring, and that's going to be
in San Antonio.
The end of your career. Yeah, that's how you're going to ride into the sunset.
T-Mac in San Antonio, you can go play minor league baseball.
That's the article before we started recording, that the Celtics need a change, and that change is Carmelo Anthony.
I'm going to continue to blow the Carmelo Anthony horn. I want him back in the league. I love Carmelo Anthony.
Sure, put Melo in the league. Just don't put him on my fucking Celtics.
Melo, baby.
Keep him as far away from Jason Tatum as you possibly can.
I need it.
No, I just like, and when I say
Sacramento, why don't you sign Melo right now? You got a chance to make the playoffs. You could add him. You wanted Harrison Barnes that bad. At least, like, he's a mentor. He's been there before. He can help these guys. Why don't you sign Melo if you're Sacramento?
When the hell has he been there before?
2013. He was in the conference finals with Denver.
How'd that go?
I mean, Kobe's Kobe. What do you want from me?
So all right, my thing also with Golden State is like, as much as I'm saying I have questions, it just means they might stand a chance to get beaten in 7 games in the finals. Maybe
7's a lot of games.
You might have to get it done in 6. Like, if you're going to beat Golden State, you might have to wrap it up in 6.
I'm not sure you can win a game 7 in Oakland. Well, granted, unless you have LeBron
Unless
James.
you have Kyrie Irving.
That's, either way.
No, and that's... I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat for it, but I still think the Celtics are going to the finals, even with all the struggles.
It's tough for me to make anything of their locker room right now. I have no idea what to make of it. That thing you sent me today about it went right over my head.
Yeah,
they were trying to make jokes about the press now. And
I think they're really trying to force it, and I think the regular season just needs to end, and then things will get a lot better.
I can't wait for the regular season to end.
As far as I got one last question: who's more disappointing, the Lakers or the Celtics?
It's the Lakers. We talked about this before. I mean, the Celtics. Yes, their expectation was
way
one
higher
seed.
expectations.
Zach Lowe picked them to 65 wins.
Yeah.
The expectations
Bill
for them
Simmons
was
said
insane.
67.
Yeah, the expectations for them were way through the roof of they have without a doubt fallen short of expectations. But as far as disappointment levels with
people
the Lakers,
were picking them as the only team that can beat the Warriors.
Right. No, and they have fallen short. I don't want to say they're not a disappointment. They are. They are a disappointment for what they should have been.
The Lakers were let's see if they can get to 50 wins and be a 6 seed.
But they still got LeBron. That's the thing. When you have that guy, you can't fail.
And it's true. And even you and I, 2 weeks ago, LeBron's not missing the playoffs. No. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, LeBron's missing the playoffs.
We recorded the day after he came back, or he came back on a Friday, didn't play the Saturday night back-to-back, and then we recorded on a Sunday, and I said, how many weeks do I have to leave the Lakers out of the power rankings before I can put them back in? That's how much he matters. They were nowhere near it. But once he's back, it's of course they're a top 5 team. They got him.
Got news. I don't know that he cares about basketball that much right now.
I'm just saying, if they get in the playoffs and they're the 7 seed and Golden State's the 1, it is not going to shock me one bit if that's the conference finals.
That quote about, is basketball the most important thing in your life right now, yes or no? It was bad at the time.
Laughable.
And then it got much worse when we found out that he was in the studio with 2 Chainz at 11:45 on February 1st and then missed a game against Golden State on February 2nd.
The album is not even that great. Sorry.
7 out of 10.
2 Chainz.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I could not. He was in the studio at midnight on February 1st and then missed a game against Golden State on February 2nd for load management.
I was very upset that Trappy did not make an appearance on the shop.
I was
with
a
2
little
Chainz.
upset. I was a little upset that LeBron didn't make an appearance on the album. I was hoping for a very cringeworthy verse.
They had 2 Chainz in the shop with all those other guys, and he didn't bring his dog, and that's not cool.
All right, that's our show for this week. This is a good one.
We talked for a long time, didn't we?
A little bit. Yeah. It's all right.
It's fair.
It's fun. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great week.
See ya.